Okay, let's just be real for a second. The world of supplements, it's a total jungle out there. You know, a new miracle ingredient seems to pop up every other week, and it's so easy to get lost in all the hype. It's confusing, it can be pretty overwhelming, and today, we're gonna cut right through that noise.
And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. We actually found it in an internal marketing document from a supplement company, and it perfectly captures that feeling. It's so common it even has a name, supplement fatigue. It's that exact moment you're staring at your cabinet, wondering if you're building better health or just a really expensive collection.
So, that's the big question, right? What actually works? Well, to find out, we're going straight to the source. We got our hands on the internal content briefs from a company called Cellular, and they basically lay out their entire marketing playbook for 2026. So let's dive in and decode the major trends they are betting big on.
First up is one that is genuinely fascinating. We're talking about a compound that's been around for over 150 years, and all of a sudden, it is the hottest new thing in biohacking circles, methylene blue. And the key to understanding its huge comeback tour, well, it all comes down to the tiny engines running inside every single one of your cells. Yep, let's talk about your mitochondria. You can think of them as trillions of microscopic little power plants inside you. When they're humming along, running efficiently, you feel great. You're energetic, focused, sharp. But when they start to slow down, everything else kind of does too. And this whole idea of mitochondrial health is the foundation for this entire trend.
So, what's so cool about this is how it simplifies a really complex process. Picture your mitochondria like an energy factory with a big assembly line. Electrons are the parts, and they get passed down this line to create energy. Now, the company's brief explains that sometimes, electrons get dropped or they get stuck. Methylene blue comes in and acts like a super efficient worker that just scoops up those lost electrons and puts them right back on the assembly line. And here's the bottom line. A smoother, more efficient line means more ATP, and ATP is the pure energy currency of your cells. Simple as that.
Okay, let's move on to the next big trend, which taps directly into the science of aging. This one is all about a molecule that has a super important job, and the kind of unsettling fact that we start losing it much earlier than you would ever think. This is the story of NAD+.
Just take a look at that number, -50%. It's stark, it's simple, and really, it's designed to make you ask one critical question. 50% of what?
And there it is. There's the answer. By the time you hit 40, your body can have up to 50% less of this vital molecule called NAD+. And we're not talking about some obscure chemical here. This stuff is an absolute cornerstone of how your body functions, how it repairs itself, and ultimately, how it ages.
This chart just lays out the problem perfectly. The briefs we saw call this the NAD+ decline curve. It's a simple, really powerful visual that shows this isn't some sudden cliff you fall off when you're old. No, it's a steady, gradual decline that starts way back in your 20s and 30s.
So, why is this decline such a big deal? Well, NAD+ is basically the linchpin for your cellular health. It's involved in over 400 different processes, from generating that ATP energy we were just talking about to literally repairing the blueprint of your body, your DNA. And, as the company's own documents point out, major publications like Fortune and Wired are all over this story, which adds that layer of social proof that makes the whole trend feel both urgent and really credible. Okay, next up, we have a total reinvention story. Seriously, we're talking about a supplement that most of us think we know, but it's being completely reframed for a brand new audience in 2026. Get ready for the creatine revolution.
This right here gets to the absolute heart of the strategy. The marketing brief's whole angle is to bust the myth. For years, creatine was typecast, right? It was the bulky, muscle powder just for guys at the gym. But now, a whole wave of new research is pushing it into completely new areas. We're talking supporting brain function under stress, helping with bone density in women, and even providing mood support. It's the exact same molecule, just with a much broader, much more scientific resume now.
And look, this isn't just some internal marketing hype. The company is leaning hard on powerful external validation. You've got an industry publication, Nutritional Outlook, calling it a top ingredient of the year. And at the exact same time, you've got the grassroots verdict from Reddit users, who are calling it an absolute essential. It's this powerful one-two punch of credibility from both the top down and the bottom up.
But here, this is where the story takes a really fascinating twist. After you bombard customers with all these complex scientific trends, what do you think happens? That supplement fatigue we talked about at the very beginning, it kicks back in, and it kicks in hard. And that creates an entirely new trend, a rebellion against the very complexity that was just created.
This quote, pulled right from one of the company's own briefs, is so telling. It shows they recognize that people are just getting exhausted from chasing every new, complicated thing. Instead of wanting more options, people are starting to ask, okay, what is the absolute minimum I need that will actually work?
And this table right here, this is the answer that's bubbling up from communities like Reddit. They're calling it the essential stack. It's simple, it's backed by science, and it's effective. You've got creatine for energy, magnesium for relaxation and sleep, and omega-3s for your brain and heart. The really smart part is that this counter trend becomes its own powerful marketing opportunity.
So, let's recap. We've seen a 150-year-old compound get a modern reboot. We've seen a longevity molecule become a media star. We saw an old gym staple find a completely new life. And then we saw the backlash to all of that complexity turn into its own trend. So what does it all mean? It means there's a playbook at work here.
This lays out the entire cycle we've just walked through. It all starts by spotting a spark of interest. Then, you translate complex science into a simple, relatable problem. You can reframe an old product or introduce a new one as the hero that solves that problem. And then, once the market is totally saturated and customers are confused, you pivot and become the voice of reason, offering a simple, essential solution. It's a rinse and repeat cycle for engineering hype.
And that brings us to our final question. The company we've been looking at, Stellar Health, their tagline is engineered for the future, and they talk a lot about their AI-formulated products. But the question is, are we truly engineering the future of human health, or are we just getting better and better at engineering more convincing stories? The answer, it probably lies somewhere in the middle, right? The science is real, but so is the marketing playbook. The key is for you to be an informed consumer, to understand the mechanism, and to separate what you genuinely need from what is just manufactured hype. And that's something to think about the next time you see the next big thing in supplements.